Hey!
Hey guys.
Rig review time.
Yeah.
And this time we're doing like it's kind of like rig rebuild review.
Yeah, like a review.
Review. All right.
Yeah.
Coming right up. Stay tuned for this funny video.
Yeah.
Tell me what we're talking about today, because I think we've seen this before in a rig review, except you seem to have chopped something.
Yeah, it's definitely changed and been used for quite some time, and so we thought we would reintroduce it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons for that is I'm sure you've seen the video before. It looked a lot cleaner, a lot fresher, and it had a cab on the back of it. And over the years, you sort of have your truck and you comp it, you use it, and it just changes form. It sort of turns into something else. And 3 years later, I believe, this is where it sits. Still running great.
It is. It's amazing.
It is my comp truck, and this is where it sits at this point.
So where did this start comping? Was it last year?
No, I think it's been 2 years now that I've been using it.
I think it's been 2 years.
Yeah, 2 or 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I think this was built for the first Pennsylvania RC four-wheel drive event.
The East Coast Scale Challenge.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yep.
I can't believe this is going to be third year for that event.
Wow.
So,
So that was Class 1.
correct?
I think it pointed out somewhere in the 50s.
Yeah. Yeah.
For Class 1, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah.
But you had different tires on it, right?
Yeah, I had the Baja MTZs on it.
Yeah.
Tall tire.
1.9.
1.9, yeah.
I remember that, and they did pretty well.
They were great. One of the things that was great is, they performed well, had great traction. Little tall, though, and when I had the cab on it, just high center of gravity.
Okay.
And I remember that first year, one of the courses had some really incredible side hilling.
Oh, that's right.
And I
remember
was
that.
really challenged with that. I kept
Yeah.
rolling over. Most of the times I'd land back on my 4 feet, but 4 feet? 4 tires, and away we go. But so there was a transition. That was, every time you go to these events, you're learning something.
That's for sure.
And this is where it's developed into. So I've gone with a different tire. The Fun Countries.
These are one of my new favorites.
Yeah, they seem to catch on. A lot of people are using them.
Yeah.
Good traction. Sort of gets rid of the dirt quite well. Kind of flies off to give you a little bit more traction. The foams in them are okay.
If you have a really light truck, it might be all right, but I've had to change mine already.
Yeah.
So.
But I do like them for competition. They are
Me
working
too.
quite well. And of course, we've got them on a set of slots, 1/9 slots.
Yep.
I think at that time I had them on some wagon wheels way back when.
Oh, way back.
So yeah, it's changed shapes, but it's really going well. One of the things that I did was I removed the cab, and did a bit of this is a Styrene Roll Bar, which isn't very good when it falls over on itself, but easily repairable. However, I wanted to do it in styrene first, get it going, play with it a bit, to see if I like it, and then if I do, I think I'll make it in metal. I'll do a metal roll cage.
Because you'll get more points for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has just come back from a competition.
Yes, sir.
Up in the Niagara region, Stag
Yep.
6.
And 2 weeks before that, it was at Recon.
And 2 weeks before that, it was at Recon. And I tell you, I love this truck. I love the size. I love, it's funny because once you sort of dial it in,
Yeah.
and you've been using it for quite some time, and you understand the truck, and you know how predictable it's going to be, it's just a pleasure to drive.
So let's go over the equipment in this, because for a truck that's been comped for 3 years,
Right.
And had this much use, and I mean, comping is hard on a truck, right?
It sure is.
You're going hour after hour after hour, course after course, and you don't want to take repairs. You want to make sure you have enough power. It's got to be tuned in. So we should actually talk about the equipment in here from front to back.
Yeah, let's do that.
What kind of chassis?
So it's an SEX chassis.
Okay.
You know, typical. I think it started life as a honcho.
Okay.
And so SEX chassis, but the suspension is certainly not stock.
In the front, you have axial shocks, and it's a coilover suspension.
Correct.
And then it looks like it's got metal links.
Yep.
Metal steering stuff.
Yep.
And you've got a GCM panhard and a top mount link mount as well.
One of the first things I did with this, and I've used it, and it's an incredible, is the motor forward design that we do here at GCM.
Yep.
I put that in, and it's worked so well. The balance is so good.
It is pretty good. It's surprising.
Yeah, it's predictable. Great for cresting. Great for weight balance. I love it. One of the things that I like about this specific setup, and why I go back to it every time, and I'll tell you, folks. You know, I've decided, you know, many times, I'm going to start something new or have a new comp truck.
Yeah.
And every time I come back to this, I know why I come back to it. And I really like the suspension in the back. It's got the leaf springs in the back.
Yep.
So it's a leaf spring back on SEX axles.
Yep.
I think these are our leaf hangers.
Yep.
And I have some dummy shocks, believe it or not. They're not really doing much. Actually, I think I'm missing one at the moment.
Thank you, comp.
Thank you, comp. Yeah, there's a few parts that were left on the trail.
Yeah.
But I really like the leaf suspension in the back with the coilovers and the full linked in the front. It just, for some reason, works well for me. It doesn't give you too much slop. It helps with some side hilling. And it just seems to really work well for what I want to do and when I show up at these comps.
I am thinking maybe 100 hours of runtime on this truck, probably.
Oh, for sure.
Between all the fun runs, too. I mean, there's all the non-comp events that you've gone to with this.
And then, you know, just heading out with the folks and going to, your
trails,
local, yeah,
rocks,
exactly. Yeah. Running, I typically run a 3-cell in it. I like that because it gives me a little bit of wheel speed when I need it.
Yep.
Believe it or not, I have a Tamiya Silver Can stock motor that I put in that 27 turn, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, and unbelievable. And I'll tell you, it's been great to me.
Yeah.
I think it's finally, based on the last event, it's finally started saying, okay, I'm a little tired. But I'm impressed. I'm simply impressed with it and the way it's performed. I've gotten into the 35 turns and the 45 turns, and they're certainly great also. But to be honest with you, with a stock Tamiya Silver Can in this, I've been truly impressed with it.
It's surprising how long it's gone, and it still has some jam, and it's more like I've driven behind, in front of this truck for many a comp and team events and stuff, and it lacks nothing.
Yeah,
that
agreed.
Cheap to buy.
Yeah.
You know, dead reliable Tamiya. It's 27 turn. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you know, it's been good to me. It's showing its wear and tear. I think it's missing a light. Mirrors are busting off. I've repaired the roll cage.
Yeah.
You know, bumpers are bent and torn, and you know, the interior isn't quite straight anymore. And there's tons of dirt and tons of scratches on it, but that's what makes it look cool, you know?
I love it.
Doug from Soul Corral, he's got some of the coolest weather-beaten trucks out there. For those who are following the channel, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's got some, and you know, he puts lots of miles on his truck.
Miles and miles on every week on miles and miles.
And so this is finally getting to the point where it's got enough dirt, enough scratches that it's starting to look mean. And I'm enjoying it. The reason why, again, I went to this was to get a little bit of the weight off the top end. Mm-hmm. So that certainly helped with some side hilling. But Sean Saley, another guy that we know quite well, who's been doing some incredible stuff, he did a 78 Datsun sort of stadium truck, desert truck feel to it.
Yeah.
That was certainly a little bit of inspiration for what it's ended up being for this year's events. Certainly isn't much of a trail style truck. It's more of a desert buggy truck. However, I just like the look, and so I went with it, and that's what you're seeing in front of you now.
It's nice.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
I like the changes. I really like that.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you get bored with what you've got, and you just want to change it up a bit, and this is what it's become. And I go back to, I just love driving the thing.
That's the key, eh?
Yeah, it sure is.
When we first started talking about tiny trucks years ago on this channel, I kept saying over and over again, you got to have that go-to truck.
Yeah.
And then once it's the go-to truck, just leave it alone. You know, maybe change some accessories or something on it, but let it be what it is. And every time you need a reliable truck, just grab it and go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I have here, and it's been faithful to me. And you know what? I'll continue to drive it. I'll continue to. You know, at some point I may change the body, but to be honest, the way I have the chassis set up and how I like it, it's still working for me today, and
it is.
I'm very pleased with it.
Tell us about the terrain that you drove last weekend so that we can all find out kind of what this truck is capable of running on.
Sure. We've run in a lot of terrains, you know, from swimming pools to ponds to everything in between. This time around we had one trail which was sort of muddy and some rock, but really slippery.
Quite slick, yeah.
And I think that was course 2 for us at Stag 6.
Yeah.
Really slippery, but the tires did quite well, and the balance was quite well. Course 1 was cruel.
Why cruel? I remember you were part of building it.
I was. I'm so much to be at fault as the next guy.
Hey.
But it was a bit cruel towards the end because we ended up in sort of a river rock basin.
We went all the way down to the river, yeah.
Yeah.
So that you can just imagine what that was like.
So it was really large river rocks, brown river rocks, scattered all over the place, and we were really hopping all over those. But you know what? After I sort of got a feel for it and got into a rhythm, I kind of enjoyed it. As soon as I knew how to drive that, the truck really started to perform well. And that, you know, that's another thing is you as a driver really have to learn how to drive in certain terrains. Our last event certainly threw a lot of different terrains at us, and I was successful at some and not so successful at others, but always having a great time.
It's amazing to me to see how long this thing will last. You know, I think you'll probably keep comping this for a while.
Yeah, it's got enough scratches on it that I want to continue making more. So
nice.
Here we go. So we've got you know, about a month off, and then we're heading off to another event we're quite excited for.
I think the next event for us, probably for this truck too, is going to be the Canadian Scale Challenge from RC 4-Wheel Drive. They're heading that title up in Ontario, Canada. Yes, local.
Yeah, another local event for us, and we're quite happy. And
Link below.
The scene here is local, and when I mean local, sort of in Ontario.
Yeah.
And it's really picking up. There's lots going on now, and you know, we're actually very thankful that you know, we can go to Socrawl and those guys down there and have some wicked times with lots of people coming out. So
it's fun.
It's really good.
If you want to have a look at this truck yourself and see how many scratches there actually are, you can check it out at the GCM tent at the Canadian Scale Challenge, which is in Milton, Ontario, July 10, around there.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy with how you've changed this up. I was kind of surprised that you had done that, but I'm glad you didn't take it apart.
Yeah, we had talked. I thought maybe for 2015 I would retire it, but I'm thankful I didn't because
it's awesome.
I just keep going back to it. And
I hope you have a go-to truck. Put your link below. And if you've done a review on your own go-to truck, then post your link below because we always watch those, so they're great.
Yeah, for sure.
And thanks for watching, guys. And we've got more video stuff coming out on the channel soon for you.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Take care.